Hi, I'm Crystal,
And I'm Neoshia.
and you're listening to the Rom-Com Detectives. Welcome to Rom-Com Detectives, episode 64, Best Case Ever. Today, Neoshia and I will be talking about episode 4 of Castle Season 2, Fool Me Once. This episode originally aired on October 12, 2009, and was written by Alex Hawley and directed by Brian Spicer. Getting straight into the case briefing, the victim in this one was Stephen Flesher. So, cause of death in this one was a large caliber gunshot to the face, which, ew, kind of gross.
Yeah, but very purposeful, we'll find out.
Yeah. The killer in this one was Sue, the victim's con artist partner. And she was motivated by greed because what was it? He wanted out.
Yeah, he was ready to make a new life.
So there were actually a lot of crossover actors, not crossover, but like there's like lots of people who had also guested on The Mentalist on this episode.
Hmm.
Um, there were a lot of people where I was just like, I know this person from something on on Mentalist, and it
Yeah.
turned out I think there were like three people. So there's Elise, played by Kathleen Rose Perkins. She's from NCIS LA, Colony, Doogie Kamealoha, and then she was also on Rose Colored Glasses. That's the high school reunion episode, right?
Hmm.
And then there's David Ramsey. He plays Mr. Wheeler. And I haven't seen Arrow in a while. Like I only watched a couple seasons, but when I saw this episode, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Diggle's in this one.
Yeah,
But he's also been on The Flash because he's in all those DC shows.
a
And
crossover.
yeah, and then he's been on Dexter and Blue Bloods. There was Robert Pine. This guy has a huge acting career. He's got like 238 acting credits. He's played the father, Jerry Finnegan, and he was on Chips for a really long time. He was on The Mentalist in the episode Bloodsport. I think he played the victim's father.
Probably. That sounds about right.
Yeah, yeah. The one
Yeah.
who had like a heart attack or whatever.
Yeah, like I'm not really sure, but it sounds right that he would be cast as the
Yeah.
father.
Just because he's on the older side, right? So
Hmm.
and he's been on The Bold and the Beautiful. How do you pronounce his name, Tyler
I don't know how to pronounce it, but I was just laughing at how like he's kind of buried in here, but I think it's Tyler Hoechlin.
Oakland?
I
Okay, yeah,
think I think it's Tyler Hoechlin. I would put him first because that is the most recognizable person in this
yeah.
entire
I don't,
episode to
I
me.
don't, I don't go by. I just go by like how the IMDb thing lists him. But
Fair.
yeah, he plays Dylan, the violin prodigy guy. But he's Superman on Superman and Lois.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah.
I knew him from probably like his I think it might be his first acting credit or one of his first, which is Seventh Heaven, which you
Yeah,
have here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he was on Teen Wolf too.
Mhm.
But I haven't watched any of those shows, so I didn't really. I guess he's like a big guest star, but I didn't recognize him from anything that I've seen actually.
Yeah, I mean he's a big guest star for like I think a certain age bracket.
And then there's Stephanie Faracy. She plays Patty, and I recognize her, and I actually recognized her recently because she was
Mhm.
just in Scarpetta. She played Maggie, the really creepy secretary lady to
Mhm.
the main character Kay Scarpetta. But I know her mostly from The Great Outdoors. Did you ever watch that movie back in
I,
the
I did not know.
Oh man, my family used to watch that movie so much. We used to watch a lot of John Candy stuff, that's why.
Mm.
And yeah, that was one of my favorite family movies to watch back then. But she plays John Candy's wife, so and then there's Chet Grissom. He was Agent Gray, very small part, but he was also on The Mentalist. He's on the episode Red Hot, but I couldn't remember who he played in that episode, so I was drawing a blank there. But he's also been on Monk. There's Jennifer Riker. She played Sue, also very small part, but she's from Black Lightning and Nashville. And then finally, we have Eileen Graff. She plays Gail Finnegan, and she. I mean, she was on Mr. Belvedere. She was credited with a ton of episodes from that show, and I know I used to watch it, but it was so long ago that I don't remember
And I've
much
never
about
seen
it.
it. Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yeah, but she was on a lot of 80s TV shows, so. All right, let's get into the episode breakdown. It starts with a man, Mr. Wheeler. He's teaching his students. Did you ever say how what grade they are?
No, but these are like little elementary kids.
Yeah, yeah, they're like middle to elementary school kids. He's prepping them for a call with a man named Stephen Fletcher, a polar explorer. And so they're watching. I think it's set up where he tells the kids he can't hear you. So, I mean, but they talk to him anyway. But it's basically a one-sided conversation. Like he
Hmm.
talks to the kids and teaches them that way. He gives them updates about the things that he's seen on his polar expedition. But then while he's talking to the kids, he hears a noise. He continues with his lesson, but then you can see a shadow creeping up behind him with a gun. And then he looks towards the side of where the camera is and he yells, and then a gun goes off. And so that's the murder.
Yeah.
At Castle's apartment, the doorbell rings, and the drama for this episode starts here because it's a really handsome guy named Dylan. He's there to tutor Alexis, and Castle is immediately like, "What happened to Olga?" I guess that was her old violin teacher, and
Yeah.
she tells him, "Oh, he retired," and he starts really getting into who is this guy and why don't I know anything about him, and why are you guys going to your room together, and like I don't know. I felt like this was a fair line of questioning.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to talk about that a little bit later when some stuff like developed, but I'm with you on that. Like I think he's not wrong here.
Yeah. So Martha introduces herself and she basically backs up Alexis. She's like, let them go do their thing. It's fine. So but then Castle gets distracted because he gets a call about the going down to the school. So he arrives and he's like, "Where's the body?" And I liked that Ryan's like, "You didn't tell him?" and Beckett's like, "No, ruin the surprise." Because I guess by now they know that he would really get a kick out of something like this
Yeah.
because they're not actually at the crime scene in this one, right? They're at the place that has the recording of the crime. So
Right. They're at the school where the kids watch the video because they don't yet know where the body is.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so they watch the replay and they pause it and they look at when the camera fell and they pinpoint on like a building outside the window because you can see an apartment. So they're like, "Oh my god, it's a scam because he's not in the Arctic." Which I thought was really clever. When I first saw this episode, I had like a castle like reaction. I was like, "Oh my god, that's so cool!"
Yeah, I mean, because his it's set up pretty well because he has the tents blowing and it looks all
And the
snowy and
snow
cold.
and everything.
Yeah.
But so I also like too that Beckett's like, okay, we got this picture, and like Castle's like, oh, this looks distinctly like what area did he say it was?
Um,
He recognizes the general architecture, right?
yeah, he recognized the architecture and then he also starts talking about like whatever food that is that's like mixed with some kind of bear
Pem-
fat and
Pemmican. Yeah.
yeah, and everyone's just like, "Huh?"
I actually remember what pemmican is because I read the book Lucifer's Hammer, and like basically in that book the comet is coming and the world is going to crap and everybody's panicking, and the main character he starts making a bunch of pemmican because he knows he's going to need like protein rich stuff, and so when he goes out and buys stuff he buys supplies to make pemmican.
Oh, okay.
Beckett had said, "Oh, go ask like beat cops because they're the people who walk the street, so maybe they'll just know the building," which I thought was clever way to try to find the building. But They talked to the teacher, Mr. Wheeler. He explains that Fletcher had come in and he had pitched his expedition, and he got a bunch, like it was more than one school, right? It was like a few schools that got
Yeah.
together and they did fundraising and they funded his expedition. And then Ryan comes back with an idea on the building. So they head there. And then they're in the apartment. And what do you think about that apartment made Beckett? Because she says, "Oh, he seems like a squirrel. Go search for things that he's hiding." Like, what do you think tipped her off on that?
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna guess the fact that he's like scamming people,
Uh
like the
huh.
tent in the living room might be the big thing. But yeah, I didn't really get a sense of like if there was one thing that made Beckett her like spidey senses tingle.
Kind of just felt like a throwaway thing, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get a moment. I guess I didn't get yeah, I didn't have a moment where I was like, oh, that's why Beckett knows to go checking for
Yeah,
this stuff.
yeah. But we get a good look at his setup. He's got his tent set up in his living room. He's got a fan blowing the fake snow around and everything. And his apartment looked kind of big, yeah.
They always do, actually, and what's funny about that is if you there's, like, a whole brand of content now on TikTok, on, just how much people pay for an apartment in Manhattan where this is supposed to be, like, Beckett is supposed to be living in Manhattan as his castle, and people are like, "This is how much I pay a month for this type of apartment in Manhattan," and on a police officer's salary, even though we know that Beckett, comes from a pretty good okay background, middle class background, but, like, a one-bedroom apartment with that much space, which I kinda started talking about Beckett's apartment, which you'll see later, but, like, all of these apartments that they're showing that have all this space, these would be, like, 5, 6, 7, if not $10,000 a month.
It's crazy. But yeah, it just looked really spacious to me. And then so the guys come back, they found a box of fake passports. So do they ever find out who he actually is? They don't, yeah.
No. No, because it comes up later when they're trying to identify the body that
Yeah.
this is who they believe he is, but they don't
But they
really
don't know for
know.
sure.
Mm-mm.
I thought that
And then
was a loose thread that I didn't like that they left hanging.
it is kind of a loose thread because you also then don't really know who his real next of kin is and, like, any of that, right? That the
Yeah.
police would need to find out. But there's a moment in the scene I like with Ryan, Espo, and Castle where they make that joke about the kids. Well, at least we know it wasn't the kids because 'cause they'd have to put one on top of the other under a trench coat. I thought that was funny.
So next we go to the station and Cass was asking Beckett because in the last episode Beckett was irritated with him because she didn't have a copy of his book. And she's like, "I'm
Mhm.
the inspiration. I should get a copy." And he said, "You'll have it by tomorrow." So she's apparently had the book for a while. And so he wants to know what she thought of it. And she's like, "Well, I haven't had time. I've been really busy. I haven't read it yet." He's like, you can tell he's trying not to be offended, right?
Mhm.
So they learn about a woman whose money Fletcher stole last year and has been committed several times. And this is this is the lady I was talking about from Great Outdoors, but she's like a cat lady or something, right? And they bring her in and they talk to her.
Yeah.
She confesses to killing him, but it's like a not an actual confession. She's like, because she's been committed a few times, right? So
Yeah, and I can't remember exactly how she said she killed him, but it was something like she
in my mind or something like that.
yeah, and then she, like I can't remember if she said she blew him up or if she dragged him or something like that, and then she adds, "In my mind." But then I also liked here because she starts to pick up on them thinking that she's, like, just really easy to take advantage of, and she's like, "No, I'm actually the most paranoid person you'll ever meet because I've been diagnosed with paranoid personality disorder." And I was like, "Is that even a real thing?" Um, but I mean, it could be. I don't know actually. But she's like, I have paranoid personality disorder, so I'm the most paranoid person you'll ever meet." And it's like, I don't get the sense that that's true.
So Castle's curious how he stole her money, and that's when she says that he scammed her into thinking that he could have her and her cats cryogenically frozen. So which I thought was hilarious. Oh my god.
Which again kind of feeds back into like the whole narrative about like she's been committed a few times for reasons.
Uh-huh. So next, they find out that Fletcher was engaged to be married to a rich socialite. So they go to visit the family. Here, the fiance is in complete denial. She's like, "No, he wasn't a con artist." And we find out later why she's so insistent upon that. But they're trying to figure out. This is where they talk about how they don't know who he actually is. They have all these fake passports. They have all this like documentation from, I guess, his computer and paperwork and stuff in his apartment, but they don't know who he actually is.
Mhm.
And so they stay late and they're trying to figure this out. They're looking through all his things, and I like that Ryan like says that he actually once scammed a Nigerian scammer out of 10 grand.
Yeah, no, because that was funny because the scammer, it's like one of those Nigerian prince scammers from like
Yeah,
the late
yeah,
2000s.
the bridges or
Apparently,
whatever, right?
yeah, like reaches out to him and then he ends up getting 10 grand from the guy. And I'm like, that's good.
Yeah. But so here's one of the pop culture references. Castle mentioned they start talking about con movies, and Castle mentions The Sting, and Beckett says, "I hate con movies," and he can't believe it, right?
Yeah, like it's the most silly thing that she's ever said to him, but what or that he takes it that way at least. But yeah, I think it's funny that they bring up con movies here.
But she gets up to leave and says she has a date, and after she's gone, Castle's like, "Well, come on, guys, who is it?" But they don't know, and they start teasing him about, "Oh, do you have unresolved feelings?"
Yeah, and I think that's why I like the con movie part of this because she's like, "Oh, I hate con movies," because she's like, "The only people that get conned in a con movie is the audience, because nothing's real. You can't take anything real or as real," which I think is a valid point. But it was
Yeah.
funny that that's what he kind of throws out as like why he couldn't have unresolved feelings for her.
But see, so the whole con movie thing made me think that that's part of what I really like about The Mentalist. Is because Jane has. Well, there will often be episodes where Jane has secretly from the audience has like a whole sting operation going on that is hidden from the audience until the end, and then they like flash back to like how they did it, kind of thing. Sometimes I really enjoy those episodes. So
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because there are times on that show where they kind of just make fun of themselves a little bit, where they're like,
yeah,
we're not gonna tell you how, like the one where he goes to jail and which is Black Gold and Red Blood, episode 6 of season 2, and he comes out and he has a three-piece suit on, right? And he's like
yeah.
basically all put together because he escapes, and it's like at the end, Cho is asking him like, "Where did you get the suit?" And like it's very clearly the writing trying to make a point of like, yeah, we're not gonna resolve all that, but he got out nevertheless.
Don't question it. Just let it
Just
flow.
let it ride. Yeah, let it ride.
So, but we get an answer right away who Kate is seeing, and it's actually Castle, or Castle's book more specifically. She's lighting. Oh my god, it was so funny because there's so many scenes lately where we're watching like a movie, like we do, like we watch movies on like the bullpen, and like they'll show like people lighting candles, or they're in a room of candles, and I'm just like, were candles cheaper back in the 80s? Because I mean, I go to Ross to buy candles. I buy candles at Walmart because you buy candles at like a regular store, they're so freaking expensive.
True, and this was like around the time of like what was it called? Tea light or candlelight, like that MLM type you would order from a catalog and people would have parties. You'd order candles. It's like candles were kind of a big deal at the time. I don't know. Candles are still a thing, don't get me wrong. But I
Yeah.
feel like, when Castle was being filmed, this was kind of in that era of like Yankee Candle Store was really big. Bath and Body Works had just come out with their candle collection around this time, I think. And yeah, like you could go and buy candles at different places. I don't think they were ever cheap, but I think it's just like it sets the scene, right? Because it's supposed
Yeah.
to be like
Yeah.
romantic.
Yeah. I mean, how much would you spend on a single candle? Because like I said, I buy them at cheaper places. I would probably at most for a big one pay $8.
Oh, I've paid more than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said I buy them at cheap places, but I mean, a single candle can cost like $20, right? So
Yeah, they're
whenever
not
I
cheap.
yeah, whenever I see like someone lighting like 20 candles, I'm just like, "Whoa, you're like burning up like so much money here."
Yeah, and my grandma used to get those huge candles that were like I don't know, they had to be like 30 bucks at least.
Whew.
But they came from that catalog. I can't remember what that company was called, but, like, they came from that catalog, and she made us all learn how to, like, press it down because you had to, like, actually mold the candle down, the wax,
Oh,
and it was like
really?
yeah, like, as you burned it, like, you wanted to make sure that you would keep folding the candle in. It was a whole process. Um, yeah.
Okay, so next we or she gets in the tub and she's got all her candles lit, she's got a glass of wine and she settles in with Castle's book. I've never actually done that, read a book in the tub because I feel like I would just get water all over the
Mhm.
book. I just I've
Now, I feel like if you had a setup where you had, like, a table of some kind that goes over your bathtub,
yeah,
where you
yeah.
could set the wine on it and you could set the book on it and, you could move it back and forth. I think that would be workable, right? Or, well, I mean, your hands
I
might still be
guess
wet.
yeah. So I mean, you'd have to keep like one hand, I feel like, out of
Or
the
a
tub
towel.
or keep a towel there so you can dry your fingers off every time you want to turn the page. But I mean, she has an ARC, so maybe it's expendable.
Maybe.
So at his apartment, Castle is snooping from downstairs because he can hear Alexis having a violin lesson. And Martha can't believe what he's doing, and like he's the music stops and he gets even more paranoid and he thinks something's going on. He's about to go upstairs, but then they come out because the lesson's over. That's basically what happened. But after he leaves, he basically tells Alexis, we haven't properly vetted him, so you can't have more lessons. And she gets really upset. And she's like, why are you trying to ruin things? I finally found a teacher I really like. And, he doesn't understand what's going on. And I don't know. I do think he went a little overboard suggesting a lie detector test, but at the same time, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I do. He goes a little far. I will give you that. But like I don't know how you felt about this, but it really read to me that Alexis has a crush on Dylan. Because even though she's contextualizing it in terms of like he goes to Juilliard, he's teaching me my violin lessons, and there's a scene a little later on where she's like, "Why can't I choose who teaches me, to be an artist or who inspires me as an artist and everything?" But the way she's talking about this and the way she's acting, and then Martha constantly throwing out, "Oh, it's hormones, blah blah
Mhm.
blah." It kind of reads like she's crushing on Dylan a little bit, which I think
Yeah.
might be
Yeah.
intensifying Castle's paranoia.
Plus, I mean, when you're a teenage girl, you're not gonna say, "I want to have lessons with him because he's hot and I think he's cute." You're not gonna say that to your dad, right? You're gonna come up with all the the textbooked why this makes sense reasons, and that's what you're gonna pitch to your parent, right? So
Mhm.
you go, the person she's gonna go tell, "Oh my god, my tutor is so cute." That's the kind of thing you tell to your girlfriends, right? So
Right. Right.
I think Castle has good instincts here.
Yeah.
But so next we have Kate. She's coming to the bullpen. Apparently, Castle called her out of. She was working out. She was having a sparring lesson with somebody or a sparring session with someone, and he tells her, "Oh, I cracked the case." And he mentions that his freak out with Alexis, or he doesn't say that specifically. He says that uh, does he? He says like something that happened with Alexis made him
Mhm.
suspect the father. And so apparently he had sent Ryan and Esposito to go look things up, and they find out that the dad does have a registered gun and it's the same caliber as the murder weapon. But that gets resolved pretty quickly because they go to the dad and he shows them the gun and she sniffs it and she's like, "Oh, it hasn't been fired recently." So why do you think she still wants to take the gun?
Just to do her due diligence probably, right?
Hmm.
Like, we need to check it just to be sure.
The dad gives them pretty. solid info, he tells them that he had hired a PI to look into the guy's even because they're a wealthy family. So,
Mhm.
and his daughter was getting married. But he tells him that he found out that he was a fraud and he confronted the victim. And the guy came back and told him that, oh, I actually love your daughter. I'm going to change my ways. And you can tell, like, I mean, I was with Beckett. She was just like looking at the dad, like, "Oh, come on, you're falling for that.
Right.
This guy's a con artist. You're gonna believe him." But he comes back at her and he says, "Well, he agreed to sign any prenup that I wanted." And to be fair, that does seem pretty convincing. So, but at the same time, I still feel like even with a prenup, you gotta worry about what he can do. Like, he can still steal a lot of money for her. Like, a prenup is only for a divorce, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, he could still take money during the marriage
Yeah,
or like,
yeah,
there's a million different scams he could run. It's not just in, marrying her for her money and then divorcing her and taking everything.
yeah. So, I mean, on the surface, it kind of sounded reasonable, but when I thought about it a little more, I was like, no, he still should have been like, who are you actually, and why are
Yeah.
you good? Why should I let you marry my daughter? So,
I mean, because at any point in time, right, he could always convince her to go drain a bank account
yeah,
and give him the
yeah,
money, right?
or like steal his daughter basically by convincing her to like fund like, let's go off to some other country on vacation and let's take like all of your money with us so that we can have a
Mhm.
lot of fun and then ditch her there kind of thing, you know. There's so
Yeah.
many different uh see, Castle would not have allowed that.
No. He would have done a lie detector test on this guy.
Uh-huh. So at the station, Kate and Castle are discussing, well, was he really gonna turn like a new leaf, and was he gonna go straight? And so they meet with the dad had hired a PI, and he said that he had taken photos, but he didn't see the photos. So they bring that guy in, they look at his photos, and then they find in the photos it's the teacher, Mr. Wheeler. So that's like a twist in the whole thing, and they go to talk to him, and he admits that, he figured it out from the booklet, the pitch booklet. The pitch booklet was turned out to be important because it's how they cracked the case.
Yeah.
But he basically just says, "Well, the kids were still learning, so I just thought I should get a cut of it."
Which, I mean, just sounds like a terrible way to lose your job.
I know, because I was thinking, "Oh man, you're getting fired."
Yeah. There's no way you're not getting fired for that. Because that was the other thing, like, they do mention, early on when Montgomery comes in and wants to know where they are on the case. As you mentioned, there are schools pooling
Several
money together,
schools.
and they're private schools, right? So these are
Uh
the
huh.
kids of the wealthy, and yikes, you're messing with the wrong people.
Yeah. He basically says we're under a lot of pressure to figure this out because they're upset.
Mhm.
The guy Wheeler, he tells him, "Oh, he had a partner as a woman," and so they look more on the photo that they saw him in, and in the background they see Elise, the fiance, the naive fiance. But so they go to talk to her, and she seems really upset, and it turns out it's because she thinks that she's hiding something from them to protect her fiance. She says he's CIA. This is when Castle is just like, he's like, best case ever.
Yeah, Castle's all in on this one because, like, there's a shotgun to the face, now there's allegedly CIA involvement.
So she actually starts. She's in deep in this con. Basically, they had pulled
Mhm.
her in pretty far because she insists that even the teacher Wheeler is CIA. That they were both at the school to make international connections because of who all the students are and who their parents are. And Castle's so excited, but Beckett's just like, he's not CIA.
Yeah, I mean, Elise is so naive. Oh my goodness. Like,
Yeah.
someone tells you they're in the CIA, like, my response is, "Haha, no, you're not." Like, unless you take me to the actual CIA headquarters, even then, I've seen enough X-Files to know that, like, that could be made up too. I'm not gonna trust you because 'cause you're not supposed to tell people you're in the CIA. So
Yeah,
why are
see,
you telling me you're in the CIA?
have watched enough TV to insulate ourselves from such scam artists, right?
I would hope so, but you never know. I mean, because I guess that is a thing too, right? Like, in her defense, he knows the buttons to push. That's what makes Khan so successful. He knows the buttons to push. He knows how
Yeah.
to manipulate her. But she just seems so naive for someone who has been wealthy her entire life. Like, you would think that she would come with like almost a second sense of someone trying to like get
And
money
I mean,
from her.
she literally says that to them, right? She's like, I have been on the lookout for people after my family's money my whole life, right? She says that to them. But they bet $1 on whether he's actually CIA, and Castle calls his guy, and so they go back to the station and they're waiting for the CIA contact because they want to find out, is he actually CIA? And he's like building this guy up. I guess his name is Agent Gray, and he talked to him about research for a book. And I liked how they played this because they film it a certain way and then they shift it, and then all of a sudden he's there.
Yeah. It's a
Because
now you see me, now you don't moment.
yeah, because I mean, it was a really it's a trope, right, for CIA spooks and stuff that he
Mhm.
just can appear out of nowhere. I liked how they did it, and I like the way that they dropped the all the info because he's apparently already read Naked Heat,
Mhm.
and he drops that that sex scene was really steamy, or he says it was very racy, and Kate's like, what? But that's how Castle knows that she actually hasn't read the book yet. So
Yeah, because then I like the way she asked it. She was like, "Do we have sex in the book?" And he was like, "The characters have sex in the book."
But yeah, so they ask him if the guy Fletcher was in the CIA, and like they do like another thing where like I guess he has like this dominating presence because he goes into the break room, he just tells the big cop in there, leave. And the guy's about to like say something, but then he just bows his head and walks out.
Mhm.
But then he tells him that Fletcher was not in the CIA. And then Beckett's like, "Okay, give me my dollar." And then by the time they look back at him, he's
He's
gone.
gone. Yeah.
I like this part of Castle. They do moments like that really well. Like
Mhm.
they play on like tropes and stuff like that and make it funny.
Yeah, I
But
agree with that.
yeah, but at this point, Alexis comes to the station and she's pissed because apparently Dylan called her and said, "Oh, your dad called Juilliard to check up on me." And I don't know. I mean, it's a phone call just to make sure he goes to the school. Was that really all that bad? I was just like, I think I would have done that.
Yeah, so this is where I was like, "Okay, this plot is a little bit annoying to me." And I mean, this might be looking at it through a 2026 lens. I'm in my mid-30s. Um, because I'm just like, "Why are they positioning Castle as a crazy person in this particular scenario?" Because, like, this kid, I mean, he granted, he is still a kid, he's probably, like, 20, 21 if he's at Juilliard, but still, like, he's a grown man,
Yep.
he's a stranger in a closed room upstairs with his daughter in his home.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
like, why am I supposed to think that he is the one who is being weird for wanting to know who he is, or, like, suggesting that they actually practice in an open area? Now, granted, like, I can take the part about the double standard, right? Because it seems with Olga, there was no issue with going upstairs or anything like that, and it's probably because Olga, it sounds like, she was an older woman. But, like, it's just kind of wild to me that's, I don't know, I was a little annoyed by the
Yeah, cuz I
dragging of
mean,
this.
to me it's just responsible parenting. He could let's say Dylan is not a con artist, but he could be a sexual predator.
Mhm.
All it
And
takes is a minute for him to do some kind of harm to her. You know?
and the way that Alexis is going on about it, like, she's interested in him, like, she thinks he's cute.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
know what I
So
mean? And
she's gonna be giving off flirty vibes, right?
Right, and she's vulnerable. She's a teenage girl because, like, even if she
Yeah.
thinks he's cute, and like, "Oh, he's so hot. I'm so interested in him. He gave me attention." At the end of the day, she is the vulnerable person here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I don't know. Like, I have mixed feelings about this because I get what the plot is doing, which is kind of teeing up what's going on with the victim's fiance and everything. But I'm just like, why am I really supposed to think he's the weird one for this? Because I don't. I mean,
I
I think
mean,
he goes a
how
little
old
far.
is she?
She at this
She's
point has to be
16?
16 or 17, I think.
And they talk about hormones. Yeah, like raging hormones are a thing at that age.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was not allowed to be in my bedroom with a guy, especially one who's like post high school.
Yeah, I mean, it's an adult man in her bedroom. Like, please
Yeah,
be
that's just
serious.
it's just not allowed. I was not allowed to have that kind of thing happen in my house.
I
So,
don't think anyone is really. Yeah, but I mean, and even how she takes it on, right? Like, am I not responsible? Am I not this? Am I not that? And I'm like, Alexis, you need to chill. Like, it's
I
no one's
I
doubting
know
your responsibility.
it's not even like totally in her hands.
Hmm.
He's an like you said, he's an adult man, and like I said, it doesn't take very long for him to do something to her.
Right,
Groping takes seconds. you
right,
know, yeah. I mean, I just feel like she can be the most responsible teenage girl in the world, and he can
right.
still harm her.
Yeah, and that's a great point, right? Because like you can be the most responsible, well prepared, looking ahead, doing everything quote unquote right and still become a victim, right? Because you're a
Yes,
vulnerable
yes,
person in a situation that maybe you don't perceive as being vulnerable. So, I mean, again, I don't think he's weird for this. I think, lie detector test and all the stuff he does suggest might be a little far because it's Castle, right? You have to have that Castle spin on it. But I think, and also Martha is a little, I wouldn't say surprising because just who she is. And like she immediately starts kind of like, she's enthralled by the boy anyway. But I was a little shocked that she didn't even back him up. Like she wasn't going to back him
yeah,
up on this.
yeah. It kind of feels like her character would go the other way because, especially in the industry that she's in, I feel like women get taken advantage of all the time in that industry. So why wouldn't she be a little more cautious on behalf of her granddaughter? So,
Yeah. Cause that's, I think, the interesting thing about like how we frame being a young woman, right? Because I have,
hmm
bless their hearts, I have students where I'm just like, oh, this girl was just doing X, Y, and Z. And then I have to stop myself and be like, she is a woman. She is, in her early 20s. Like, don't infantilize her because, like, usually, as you start to age, like, you do see younger and younger people as like, oh, that's just a kid in their
yeah,
21,
yeah,
22. Um, and then, like, I think, but I do think that's an interesting thing about like framing Alexis as a young woman because that's how we would frame her as a young woman. But at the end of the day, she's still a teenager. She's still a
hmm
child. She's a
yeah,
minor,
yeah,
right? She's 16, maybe 17. I think she's closer to 16 because she graduates high school later in the series. I
yeah,
think it's a
yeah.
spoiler if I say it. So I can't say it, but I think just based on where she's at, I think she's got to be around 16.
I mean, the bottom line is she's young, right? So,
So she's a young woman, but very much still a girl. And also, too, in that really vulnerable stage of being a teenager where you kind of do think you're mature and you know everything. And
yeah,
just
yeah,
basically how she approaches her dad in that interrogation room, right? With am I not responsible? Do I not do this? And well, yeah, sweetie, you can be all of those things and still be taken advantage of.
yeah, yeah. All right, so next we go to Elise's place again. Kate listened to his dressing down from Alexis, and she's just like, um, she's kind of backing, she's kind of backing them up too, right? Just basically, just welcome to parenting a teenage girl.
Yeah. I
um,
didn't take that so much as backing it up, but it was more so like this is what teenage girls are like, so have fun.
okay. But so Elise opens the door and they can immediately tell that something's wrong. But she doesn't want to tell them immediately. They
Mhm.
confirm to her that, oh, he's not CIA. We checked with the CIA. And she's like, oh, okay, okay. And so that gets Beckett's hackles up because she's like, you were just insisting that he's CIA and you just take what I say. Um, but finally, they get her to admit that, oh, he's still alive because she got a voicemail. She got a voicemail message from him, and Castle is he's excited again. He's just like, again, best case ever, but she's just like, ugh. So next they go talk to Lainey, and then Lainey is forced to admit that she can't actually be completely sure that the dead man is Fletcher because he got shot in the face, and she doesn't know his true identity, so she doesn't have his dental records, so it could technically be someone else. And at this point, Beckett's just like, I hate this case. And I think this her line is used in the intro, the montage later. I don't know when they added, but I remember seeing that her say that a lot, and I think it's because they stick it into the intro. But they go back to the video and they're like, "Oh, yeah, we actually don't see the actual murder. They just hear it."
Mhm.
So, and then they start getting I thought this was so funny. They start getting like all these old school notifications in the form of phone calls saying, "Oh, there's activity on his credit card. He's like purchasing all these different tickets out of the country." And so it's clearly a distraction, and they're just like, well, we don't have enough manpower to go cover all these airports. And then Becca's just like, well, let's just follow Elise because she's obviously going with him. So
Mhm.
they go to the house, and her mom's like, oh, she left already, but she wrote something down by the phone. And then she tries to do the whole like scratching the getting the
Like the pencil etching or something, right? Pencil
yeah,
scratching or
like
something?
where like you write hard enough where it depresses the paper underneath, kind of thing, but it
Mhm.
doesn't work. But that's when Beckett notices the engagement book. I guess they had just come in the mail, and so she notices that the style is very similar to Fletcher's pitch book. And so they had been speculating all this time that he had a partner, but they weren't sure who it was. And so they asked the mom, "Oh, who designed these?" And it's like, "Oh, it's Sue. It's the friend that was with what you
Mhm.
call was with Elise earlier when
Elise.
I talked to her." And they figure out, oh, the con is still going because Sue is the partner.
Mhm.
So next we go to the bank, and Sue is meeting Elise, and she's like telling her like she's convinced her to go take $1 million out of the bank and give it to her. She'll go take it to Fletcher, and then they'll go separately and they'll meet outside the country. At this point, at this point, Elise is aware, right? But we don't know that.
I don't I don't think she's aware until the thing goes down at the bank, is my sense. I might be wrong about that.
So you
I
think
don't
that they actually had her? They didn't tell her?
I don't think she was looped in because she was already gone.
Oh, okay.
And
So
so
they
I
looped
think
they looped in the bank manager, but not her.
Mhm. I think so, that, like, because he does come out to give her her phone. So, I mean,
Yeah.
she might have been looped in, she might not have been, but I got the sense she didn't really know until the very end when she's, like,
Uh,
talking or when she's talking to Beckett, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I could be wrong.
That actually could make sense because I mean, she's so naive and like she's not very good at hiding what she's thinking. So maybe they thought that she would give it away, when she went to go meet Sue. So maybe they thought that maybe they just need to have her just be in the dark when she
Yeah, and
goes and
also
hands over
too,
the money.
I mean, I think one of the things is that she is manipulatable, or she's easy to manipulate, and also you wanna make sure she can actually do the thing you need her to do, right,
Yeah,
without getting
yeah,
overly emotional. So I don't know that they would have told her, especially if it's
yeah.
Sue and she trusts Sue, and yeah.
That makes sense. I was wondering too, like if you go to a bank, I guess this must be like a wealthy thing. If you go to a bank and you take out $1 million, do they give it to you right there? And do they provide you with that suitcase? Do they just have like empty suitcases in the back at the bank for people who want to take out $1 million cash?
Yeah, I mean, I think more recently, we've kind of the movies have been like, "Oh, it's gonna take time to come
It's
up with that
gonna
kind of
take
money because
time.
they don't carry that kind of cash on hand." I don't know if a bank would carry $1 million on hand even in 2009 when we still use cash.
Yeah,
But in any
this
case, that would trigger IRS protocols because of how much
uh,
money it is. So, yeah.
it's a TV kind of thing where you just gotta let it, you
Yeah,
gotta
let it ride.
let it slide. Sue takes the suitcase and she goes into her car and she opens it and she finds newspapers. And then Beckett and Castle knock on her window and she gets arrested. And then the bank manager comes out and they both flick their noses, and that's from the sting. So Castle sees it and she's like, "What? I thought you said you hate con movies." And she just laughs at him and she says, "You're such an easy mark, Castle."
Um,
uh,
yeah, I mean, it's so I don't know, I was really worried for Elise because, like, I don't think she was meant to live. Like,
yeah.
that's what worries me about this plot. Like, "Oh, give us the money, you guys can meet up outside of the country," and I don't think she makes it outside of the country, or if she does, I don't think she makes it back.
I don't know. They saved her.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she comes up to Beck and she's like, "Oh, is Stephen really dead?" And I thought that was really sad because
Mhm.
they go and they find like a some kind of device in the back that shows like that she had spliced different audio to create that voice message to fool Elise. And so I mean, they just figure, he is dead. Sue did kill him.
Yeah, and I mean, what I thought was interesting about the scene is, she's asking, and then Becca just immediately jumps in and is like, "He loved you. He really loved you, and he wanted to change for you, and that's why he's
Yeah.
dead." I'm not entirely sure Beckett actually believed that.
I think she was yeah, I think she was just telling her that to make her feel better because this lady is very babe in the woods kind of vibe. She's
Mhm.
like you said, she's very vulnerable. She's very naive. So
Yeah, because the way that Beckett came out with it so quickly just made me be like, "Yeah, I don't know that Beckett actually believes that to be true, but she's willing to say it because there's enough of a there to say it." Like, she
yeah,
can actually point to that maybe being true.
and I think they just maybe throw that in for Beckett character building. Like to
Mhm.
show that Beckett is sympathetic to women who are victims like this kind of thing. And it's like the whole like sad kind of heartfelt moment that they put at the end of these episodes. So
Right.
before he leaves, Castle asks Beckett, "Oh, do you have another hot date?" She's like, "No, I just have paperwork." So he leaves. And you know immediately that this is not the end because it's not going to be that simple. So she looks over at her bag and there's the copy of the book. She sneaks off to the bathroom and oh my god, they must have really clean bathrooms because she puts the seat down and sits on it. I was like, oh my god, surely there's another room you can go
Like,
to.
go home. Like, why don't you go home?
But they had to set it up so that he could catch her, right? So
Right.
but she's looking in the book. She's trying to find the sex scene. And Castle scares the crap out of her because he snuck in and he's looking at her over the stall door. It's like obviously set up just for this, but I still got a lot of enjoyment out of watching this scene where he's like it's on he gives her the page number that the steamy sex scene is on and then he leaves, and because just the way that her shocked face was a little over the top, but it's still cute, right? It works.
Yeah, I mean, I would be shocked that someone's over the stall. I don't think anyone's done that to me since, like, elementary school. But very bold move for him to, like, look over the stall because he didn't know what he was gonna see. I mean, he
Yeah.
suspected she was in there reading the book, and it worked out in his favor.
Can you imagine if she was just in there to pee?
That would be problematic, but yes.
But that would be such a Castle thing to do at the same time, right? I'm gonna
Yeah.
go bust her for reading my book. Oops, you're just using the bathroom. uh, so the last scene is Castle goes home. He apologizes to Alexis for the way he acted. So we don't get like we don't me and you don't get the resolution that we wanted, where basically he's told that he had valid fatherly concerns. I would have liked that.
Right.
But instead, he apologizes, and we find out that Martha is getting lessons from Dylan now, and it's like sounds like a dead cat or dying cat.
It does. Like it's basically nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah. But no, I wish there would have been some sort of like, you're not entirely wrong. And I think, like I said earlier, I think Beckett's You've Never like Welcome to Being a Dad of a Teenage Girl, I think is the closest that we're gonna get here to anyone sort of showing that support or signaling it. But I mean, maybe this is also the difference of, 16 years for us. Wait,
Yeah,
16, 15, 6, no, almost 17. Yeah. So like for, 16, 17 years, that might be the difference of, just not only how I think we as a society might look upon a grown man, even though he's like 20, 21 in a 16-year-old girl's bedroom. And then also, I find as I age, I get a little bit more wisdom and start to think about all the crazy things I did as a teenage girl
yeah,
that seemed very logical, very well thought out. And I'm just like, yeah, no.
yeah. We weren't very logical as teenage girls. we
No,
we
no one
felt
is.
we felt justified in everything that we did.
Right. No one
We were
understood.
never wrong. Parents were awful.
Right. No one understood us.
All right, so that's the end of the episode. Let's go to our watches. Beckett's hair watch. I mean, it looked fine.
It looked fine. And all I have to say is like Stana Katic has such great hair because like it's so
Yeah.
full and I'm just like in awe every time I see it. Okay.
Pop,
That's all I
pop
can say.
culture pop culture references. There were two. There was the one we talked about, the sting, and that's what the nose touching is from. I've never seen the sting, so I didn't know. I had to go look it up. But basically, the nose touching thing is like a signal between con artists, where they just basically they're just telling each other, I'm the one you want, kind of thing. Like I know what you're here for, kind of thing. It's like a signal to each other. And then Capricorn One, it's a 1977 movie about a fake mission to Mars. Castle mentions it early on, so I've
Yeah,
never
and I've
seen
not
that movie. I'd never heard of that movie before.
yeah, I've not seen either one of those actually.
That's actually one of my things that I just resist a lot is old movies, like really old movies. Like you asked me to watch like a late 80s 90s movie, I'm there. I Because that's what I grew up with. That's what I grew up watching. So that's
Mhm.
like my era. But like all the early stuff, like 70s and 60s, and the black and white movies that my parents used to try to get me to watch, no
I
thanks.
mean, I think it's very generational, right? In terms of like what
Yeah,
movies you have growing up because we often get I don't know. This might not be true anymore because of streaming, but I just remember going home from school and like watched all of those comedies from the 60s and 70s, right? Like I Love Lucy, which is actually the 50s, but Happy Days,
yeah. I watched
Bewitched,
Happy
I
Days.
Dream of
Yeah,
Jeannie, because it's just that's what's on. And so I feel like, if that's what's on for your, generation while you're a kid, then that's what you're watching. And like for me, it was more so late 80s, 90s stuff, not really, things from
yeah,
the 70s. And I have seen movies from the 70s, but like I think the original Thomas Crown Affair actually is from the 70s. And I've seen that, but not all of the sort of niche references get out there.
yeah. Because I think it was different because with movies, you had to go to a rental store, right?
Mhm.
With
Unless you had cable.
Yeah, with
Sorry.
TV, it was more like it was like um summer reruns or like whatever played after school. And like I used to there was like one summer where all I did was I would get up and I would just watch all the reruns that ran for hours. Stuff like Murder She Wrote, Happy Days, I think there was
Mhm.
Columbo,
Mhm.
MacGyver, all those things. And yeah, so
Yeah, I mean, we used to be a proper society, Crystal. We used to have receipts. We knew our history. We knew our canons.
but like you take my kids nowadays, they don't know what a video rental store is unless they see it in a movie, right? They don't
Yeah.
know what Blockbuster is, that it was like this actual building or a store where they just had walls of videotapes that you had to go choose from. That's how you watched movies that had already come out. But yeah, I mean,
But I mean, we could
it's
kick
those have been reduced to red box kiosks, right?
or, running on streaming, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I was also gonna say too, if you kick it back to these 70s movies though, because I think one of the interesting things and why I like the pop culture references and why I think they're key to nearly anything that we watch, y- television creatives, producers, writers, directors, they are all fans of their own art or of
Yeah.
their own art genre, right? So they've seen all they watch as much of this stuff as they can for inspiration to see how things are done, to see how they can improve on things, to see what didn't work, right? They study this stuff. And so like they are more likely to have seen these more niche
Mm.
movies. And I don't know, actually I don't know how niche these movies were, but like the fact that we can like talk about like Thomas Crown Affair, things like that and know what they are, but not these, tells me they might be a little bit more niche. But like they mentioned those things because maybe that's what inspired and we saw some of those references here. But like I'm also wondering if these were even on VHS because VHS is more of an 80s thing. I mean, I think it's around in the 70s, but the popularized having VHS, I think, is an 80s thing.
Mm.
I think. I wasn't here.
Or I think maybe like earlier in the 80s it was Betamax, and
Mm-hmm.
then VHS was more like late 80s, and then the rest of the 90s.
Yeah.
All right, so what is the Marthaism? Neosha added one for our list.
Yeah, when we first meet Dylan and Castle's trying to get them to stay in the living room, Martha interjects and says, "Nonsense. She needs privacy, not a performance."
Okay, author's notes. There's one that was mentioned on the IMDb trivia page where basically when Castle arrives at the apartment, he puts on a pair of blue gloves and he's doing some hand motions. And apparently, Nathan Fillion said on Twitter at the time that this episode aired that it's a Firefly reference, two by two hands of blue. And I had to go look it up, and I still don't really understand it because I still have to get into my Firefly rewatch. But yeah, it's basically a reference to these two mysterious characters on that show. So,
Well, yeah, and also too, like a lot of Firefly is because it's a cargo ship, and so there's a lot of con elements that come up in Firefly as well.
mm. And then the other thing is Heatwave, the book that Beckett is reading. It's an actual book that was ghost written under Richard Castle, and it's something that you can purchase. I didn't know this until I had watched Castle all the way through a couple of times, and so I was so thrilled. I think I do. I have it. Oh yeah, look, it's right behind me.
Nice, nice,
For our listeners, I'm holding up my copy of Heatwave.
nice.
I haven't read it though, so but there's a whole series of books written by Richard Castle.
Mhm.
Casket Corner, the book conversation, right? In the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, I like that one. I like the earlier scene too, where she's teasing Castle about him giving his expertise and being a love. But Crystal's currently showing me her book collection. Um, but yeah, I love that earlier scene too, when she's like, "Oh, Castle's giving me his expertise on being a con." I thought that was kind of cute too, because she gets in his face.
Yeah, that was actually my favorite line. I'll just say it now. She says, "Cass," because Montgomery asked for an update. She says, "Castle was just giving us his psychological insight based on his extensive experience as a fraud." Which
Yep.
that was a good burn.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, what was your favorite scene?
I like the bathroom one. It's
Okay.
cute. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair. I love that because there's so many layers, I think, to the fact that Beckett's saying she has a date, and it's literally for her to get into her bathtub with a glass of wine and a book and just chill and read. And I was like, okay, girl, self care. I love it. Love to see
Uh
it.
huh. Uh huh.
But telling Castle that it's a date, I feel like there's a psychological level there, or some
Yeah.
layers of
Yeah.
psychology going on.
Because she's spending time with him in a way, right?
Yeah, like she's reading his book and spending time with him and what he thinks about what's clearly two characters who are based on them.
Because we cannot forget that when we started this series, Beckett was a big Richard Castle fan. She's got all his books. She's been to a book signing. She's met him before at a signing. You know, she knows the plots of all his books and everything. So
Yeah. And then my favorite line was, "Welcome to," it was Beckett, and "Welcome to parenting a teenage girl. As someone who used to be one, you have my sympathy."
that is something that you can only say once you've grown up a little bit.
Yeah, perspective.
Yep, yep. All right, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll come back with our new Beckett's interrogation, which isn't too bad. Just to All right, we're back with the new Beckett's interrogation. The way this works is I'm going to ask 6 questions about the episode we just discussed, and you have 5 seconds to come up with an answer. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Question 1. How much money did Fletcher get the schools to give him?
We are not off to a strong start. I'm going to say 2 million.
No, it was 50,000.
He did all that for $50,000.
I know. See, so when they were talking about how like, oh, it's a private school and there's several schools involved and like these are rich people, I was just like, wait, 50,000 doesn't sound like a lot.
That's pocket change. Okay, he wasn't a very good con man. But
Yeah.
okay, next.
Well, I mean, he did get 10 grand off of a Nigerian scammer, so I mean, he had some skills.
I mean, he just didn't think big enough. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he didn't
Yeah.
have vision.
And also, I feel like, can 50,000 really fund a polar expedition? That sounds kind of low.
Exactly.
I mean,
Unless he's telling them he has other funding.
yeah, maybe. All right. So, question 2, what kind of wine does Beckett have when she's reading Castle's book?
Red wine.
Yes, there you go. Actually, yeah, maybe this quiz isn't that easy. Question 3, what is Castle's secret CIA code when he calls Agent Gray?
Has something to do with writing, I'm sure.
He has a secret like phrase that he that like leaves a message or something.
I don't know.
It's Thai food is pleasing to the tongue.
Thai food is pleasing to the tongue. Okay. It is. Not gonna doubt. He's right. Yeah.
Okay, question 4. What book was Castle writing when he first met Agent Gray?
I do know this. I think it's Storm Warning.
Yes, it is. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. So at some point during the case, Castle mentions that Sherry Ort stole his lunch money. What grade was he in when this happened?
Third grade?
8th grade.
Eighth grade. He got no, okay. He got conned out of his lunch money by an eighth grade girl. That does make sense, actually.
She was probably very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last question. What page is the steamy sex scene on?
Is it 155?
It's 105. Oh,
No! I knew you were going to ask because you kept kind of avoiding what page it was on when you were talking about it.
All right. All right. I will not curse it next time by saying it's an easy quiz.
It's fine. They're never easy. They're never easy because it's the. I feel like you would be a great person to design trivia night questions.
I have been hired by Audible to do design quizzes. So
I mean, for real, like you're the person. I don't know if you've ever seen Doctor Who or how much of it you've seen, but like you are the person that would make Stephen Moffat and Peter Capaldi, who are lifelong Doctor Who fans, lose trivia because of the question you asked them. Because that happened. That happened at a trivia night where Stephen Moffat, Peter Capaldi, and I forget who the third. I forget the third person who was with them. They got the question wrong. They not only did they make the show, but they have been lifelong fans. Got it wrong.
I'm just going to say that there's a lot of kids out there who are lucky that I never became a teacher because I would have been queen of pop quizzes.
Mhm.
All right, any last thoughts?
No, I thought this was a pretty straightforward episode with a lot of comedic bright spots.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good filler episode. It's
Hmm.
fun watch, and that's actually part of why I like Castle. Is it's a light watch usually,
Yeah.
especially in the early seasons. So, all right, if you're enjoying Rom-Com Detectives, we hope you'll consider taking a minute to leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. For our question of the week, leave us a comment on Spotify, YouTube, or Reddit, and tell us what your favorite con movie is. I'm gonna just go with the obvious Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 8 / Thomas Crown Affair.
If you'd like to join additional conversations about Castle, you can visit the Castle subreddit at reddit.com/r/CastleTV. To contact me and Neoshia, you can email us at host@romcomdetectives and follow us on Instagram, Threads, or Blue Sky at romcomdetectives, or leave us a voicemail or text message at 1-650-733-XOXO or 9696. This episode of Rom-Com Detectives was recorded on April 4th, 2026. Rom-Com Detectives Castle Unit is co-hosted by Crystal Watanabe and Neoshia Roemer and is produced by Pico's House. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you guys next time for a breakdown of episode 5, When the Bow Breaks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.